I got my pants below my waist and a man good dance when I'm in this place. I got my pants below my waist and a man good dance when I'm in this.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Hood Conservative Podcast. Hi, Trevian.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm amazing. But no curls in my hair because I just came from a Pilates class.
A what?
A Pilates class.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, girl. Work it out. Work it out. All right. Hey, you getting ready for Laura Luma?
Man, if she don't come and get in the ring, come get in the cage. You talk all that smack all the time. You want to talk? Let's see if your face can cash that check that your mouth keep writing. She's so rude. It's almost like she's a psychotic animal. And it's like she doesn't understand the amount of people who actually dislike. It's not even about her, but it's about how she is towards people and ethnic groups, especially Muslims, and what she says about Islam. So me being a Muslim in America who has put my life on the line for Americans, I said, look, we can go. We understand that if it came down to it and America, switched up on Israel and was going to get in a war with Israel, who is Laura going to fight for? Because I don't think that she's America first as much as she purports to be. All I see is her, putting these negative connotations out into the air, specifically toward Islam and Muslims. So I said, look, let's just get in the ring. We can settle it and we'll see one on one, you know, who's talking and who can back it up. And I have no fear, absolutely none, when it comes to, standing on what I believe in and standing on business.
All right. Y'all heard that fresh off the press from Miss Trevian, my co-host, and that's an open invitation.
Let's go.
And
Let's get it.
get it on. Get it on. Let's get it on.
Let's
I
get
want to
it.
say hello to everybody that's joining us today. We had a lot of technical difficulties going on last week that really slowed the process, and we was ready to get on and it just did not happen. So we're doing this special show just for you all today, um, to talk about politics and what's going on in this world. And we also have other guests that will be joining in with us today as well. So I'm gonna say this with someone's opinion, that's their opinion and not necessarily the opinion of the hood conservative broadcast. Let me put that on out there. So with that being said, I want to say hello to Charlene. And I am who I am. I see y'all out there in the comments section. And if you're up here, we know it's a lot of people joining us right now. Just give us a shout out and say hello. Let us know where you're from, where you're at, and we're going to keep it moving. First of all, I know yesterday was Father's Day, so I want to give a shout out to all the fathers because that spend time with their kids and, really help to make a difference in their kids' life. Yesterday, we had a beautiful family event, and shout out also to my husband, Arthur Spicer, who is a great father to his kids and to the grandkids. I mean, he really roll out the red carpet and everything for the grandkids, and I think that is really great leadership right there. And a special hello to my dad. Daddy, I love you very much. I'm a daddy's girl, okay? So anyway, we go and to all the fathers, that like I said, they're the real men that are there to stand up for their home and to take care of the house and help with the kids and making sure that the kids grow up to have a very positive and great um life, so they could be a prosperous person on the right track of doing things. And I'm not talking to the ones that like the little short pink top, what you call them tops, the little pink crop tops with the little rainbow color shorts and the little pink hair bows and stuff. This is not for you, boo boo. You got another day. That's April Fools. But we're gonna move on and keep it. So what's going on, Travian? What we got going on?
Well, I
It
mean,
is so
what's
much.
not
It's
going
so
on
much.
right here? In between the No Kings, that was part of the reason why we couldn't get on the show. They had actually hacked into Google Cloud. We got that going on all over the country. We are now immersed in a full world war. We've got the UK jumping in. We've got France jumping in. We've got Qatar jumping in. We've got Saudi Arabia allowing airspace. So this right here, this unprovoked war that we have now been, dragged into, listening to this administration and what their response is to it. Trump came out hard talking about, Israel has a lot of weapons and we gave them to them and they know what to do with them. So you better watch out. And it turned full swing into Haifa and Tel Aviv being on fire. So, nobody wants war. I know for a fact that most Americans voted for no war. We voted for President Trump not to have wars, and here we are. We get, whether it's true or not, Trump said he didn't have anything to do with Israel going ahead and striking Iran. If I will say it, I'm going to go out on a limb. Trump knew that they were going to do it, whether he approved of it or not, something different. But absolutely, Israel is not going to strike Iran without having this conversation with the United States, knowing that they are going to, which they are already currently begging for assistance from the United States. So, people now want to talk about ceasefire. It's too late. As a person who's been to Tehran, who's been to Isfahan, I understand the Persian people. They are very proud people. They are the most intelligent within the Middle East, and they are hated because they are that proud people, that they are so intelligent. The Saudis are not, the Emiratis are not, the Qataris are not. The Iranians are very, very bright people, and they are in a very strange war zone There are mountains everywhere. It will be hard to send ground troops into Iran to try and fight a ground game against them. They know that landscape better than anyone. This whole nuclear situation, I'm just going to be the first one to say that too, if I'm not the second. Iran has a right to defend itself, just like Israel has a right to defend itself, and the United States has the right to defend itself. And whether that's a nuclear weapon, they all deserve that same opportunity. Who are we to say, oh no, we can have them, but you can't have them? Iran minds its business. If everybody pays attention, they mind their own business. They're not jumping into, and you want to say, well, Yemen and Iran are working together. Possibly. They have to find some allies. But at the end of the day, every country has the not unequivocal right to defend themselves. And if that means a nuclear weapon, that just means a nuclear weapon.
Well, country got to do what a country's got to do.
You
So
know?
we're going to move on. We're going to move on. And I want to talk about all the excitement that's going on in California with Newsom, Karen Bass, and the Kings uh, thing that they have going on. I was talking to someone, and they pulled up this app that showed everywhere all over the United States where these parades and protests or whatever you want to call it is taking place, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna say this: shout out to the governor, DeSantis, because he already let them know. See, that's what I love about Florida. That's what I love about Florida. He said that if you're in the middle of the street and you decide that you want to protest and block that traffic, people have the right
Vroom,
to keep
vroom.
it rolling,
Vroom,
to
vroom.
roll out, zoom, 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 zoom. And let me tell y'all something. If
Ah,
you have ever been to Miami, Miami is just a different animal in itself. People here have like zero tolerance. I mean, that the tolerance level is like it's like the weather is hot and humid. Okay. So they already running over people here. They already doing it. I mean, a old lady got hit crossing the street last week right at the stop sign of the street that I'm on, right on 60th and 7th Avenue. She was crossing the street. They ran her over and kept going. So that is something that happens all the time here, especially, especially if you're on like a one of those little moped things that only go 35 miles per hour and you holding up traffic,
right.
you a good candidate for that free trip to the moon right here in Miami. Cause they gonna give it to you. You on the bicycle, you holding up traffic, you gonna get it. Okay. You pushing your shopping cart real slow because you don't want to move, you gonna get it. Thank you. Can you play that clip?
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida. And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and
There you
That
have
right there. That's what I'm talking about. So that's our Florida policy, y'all. So remember that when you come to protest in Florida and you decide that you want to block up the streets and slow down the traffic, okay? You're going to run into the right one here. And, when you see this taking place throughout the United States and you see these people that get caught up in these type of things and you see them stumping the people front windshields out, you have people out here throwing stones at the cars that are passing by. Come on. Florida is not going to tolerate none of that. None of it.
no place
And
should.
nowhere should. And the one, yeah, that's right, TJ, we don't fuck around and find out right here. That's what we do in Florida, fuck around and find out. And on top of that, Karen Bass have so many complaints against Trump. She was talking all that noise about him, but this the thing, did she forget that she turned off the fire hydrants and people couldn't get water when their homes was on fire? Did she forget everything that her and Newsom has done? Did they actually forget how much they fucked up things? These are people that people really need to remove and get their ass up out of those seats and stop tolerating the dumbness. Because for so many years and so long, I mean, when you have these democratic places like we see with New York, how they're letting those people commit those horrible, horrible crimes, and then they turn around and let them right back out.
Yep.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Thank y'all for reposting the stream. Thank you, Sharon, for reposting the stream. Everybody repost the stream, repost it. So, and what I love also is the sheriff that is in northern Florida. This man is so awesome. He already let you know that if you throwing rocks at his officers, you better know how to run, because when they catch up with you, they're going to give you a beat down. He already said if you are attempting to do anything to them, if you shooting it at them, then they're going to take your life. You're not going to make it. So they being very clear. Do you have that clip, G? Do we have that clip? I hope you can find it, because I mean, he just laid it out so perfectly for these clowns. And when we look at this King protest, I see Antifa all over again. I see Black Lives Matter all over again, because in certain places they calling this a peaceful protest, but nothing is peaceful about it. They are burning, they are looting. So I see Black Lives Matter, I see Antifa, and they are paying people. They are paying people to protest, y'all. This is deep money. This is deep money. So we also have Miss Thing from Walmart also that is behind it, and others. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Judd in Polk County is about that life too, and I love that. I love to hear that man talk, because when he's talking, I could just see them beating somebody ass, you know. While he's talking, you could just see somebody at that protest getting a colorful striped shirt with the tank top and the nose ring and the colorful hair. You could see them getting that ass whooped, because it's just too much foolishness that has been going on for so long that we should not be allowing here in this country. Because and then they burning flags. Y'all burning flags. Y'all say, you love this country so much and all of that, but you burning flags and you really hate it. So Trump gave y'all the opportunity to leave. He said, take the $1,000 and take your ass back to your country, right? How many of them, took that opportunity? And remember when he said that they stopped shooting the guy, wait, they start, I don't know what it is, the guy, because they ran out of bullets. Thank you. So anyway, these people are protesting, they hate this country, and it's like they don't know what to do. Okay. Now, me, I just want to make this statement, and I'm not a violent person. I believe in God. I'm not a violent person, but I ain't gonna run, because hell, I can't run. I cannot run. That's Trevian. She work out, she can run, she can do all that. That's not me. Okay. But let me tell y'all this. We've always talked about building that wall, right? We got to build that wall. We got to build it wall. Y'all don't have to spend all that damn money on that damn wall. You don't even have to do that. You need to do what you need to do to that canal to keep them from coming across that canal. Now, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about because there's certain things like in Florida, it's not like nobody's going to come here and go skinny dipping in the Everglades. You know why? Because we have alligators. We have that water is full of the pythons. We have plenty of pythons, barracudas, and everything else is in that water. So nobody is coming here to go skinny dipping in the Everglades. And I can promise you that if that water that's across that border had the same thing in there, nobody would want to cross that. Nobody would even want to think about the sacrifices of risking their life to truly come across to that border. So it's things that can be done. Never focus on the problem, y'all. You just focus on what your solution should be. And if you focus on your solution, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to come up with something. Now, while I'm a what well, Miss back BCI 207, you said it best. You said it best. And but like I was saying, y'all, it's just so many things we could do. Y'all ain't got to spend no damn billions and billions of dollars to build no damn wall. Put some damn alligators in that bitch, barracudas, shit like that. Because who in the hell can outswim a damn barracuda? Motherfucker, you ain't gonna make it across that damn canal. These people don't give a shit about our country, y'all. They don't care.
They're
They
all
burn
coming to
the
take.
flags.
They're
Come
all
on,
coming
help
to
me out, Trevian.
I said
Help
they're
me
all
out.
coming to take. They're all coming to take what is rightfully belonging to
Ours.
every American citizen. Every time any illegal comes to this country, and I want them to send the 50 that they bought back from bought over here from South Africa. You don't get to pick and choose who is going to be able to evade immigration. And I thought that was a terrible move by the administration, because if you ran on illegal immigration, you're bringing all these people over here that we, the American citizens, have to support. We don't want to give you a dead penny. Take your ass back to where you belong. And if you're going to come into this country, you come into this country the right way. You don't get to supersede any American when it comes to benefits, when it comes to being able to get an apartment, or a free telephone, or food stamps, or whatever it is. We have elderly people in this country who cannot work. We have handicapped people in this country who cannot work. However, illegals have been given precedent over these Americans who have paid taxes all their lives. So what I have to say about, I don't care how anybody feels about it. They got to go. And the fact that we're only removing 400 people a day, and we had 31 million illegals invade this country, if he doesn't realize that he needs a civilian task force to help America get back to America, then it's never going to get done.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't give a damn who he call in. Call in them Marines. Get them Marines out there. Let them do what they need to do. Because let me tell you something. The Marines ain't gonna play with their motherfucking ass. They got a lot of anger to get off, and they don't mind putting a foot up somebody's ass. They are not gonna play with them at all. They're not gonna do it. So whatever they need to do to restore order, because they couldn't even go to Haiti and pull this shit
They couldn't
because
go.
some gangs over there would beat their ass. They could not go to a third world country like Haiti and pull it off. So why are they doing it here? It's just too much that it's being allowed to take place. And you right, how the black people can't look at what the DMs, because they completely fucking blind. They're completely fucking blind. That's the reason why. That
And
is the damn reason why.
black people always want to pick up a plight. These illegals are not our fucking plight. I don't even,
They ain't your motherfucking plight.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like, why do black people always think that they have to attach themselves to something that has absolutely nothing to do with them? They don't concentrate on making money, building wealth, educating themselves, rearing their
They
children.
don't give a fuck about that part.
You know what I'm saying? You want to worry about some fucking illegals? Fuck those
Fuck
goddamn
them
illegals.
illegals.
You know what I'm saying? Like black people piss me off because they focus on the wrong thing. Any agenda you dangle in front of black people, whether it's Ukraine or whoever, black people always jump. Like it's almost it's on a timer, and it's so sad because it shows that black people will remain bottom feeders in this country because they are so easily triggered for agendas to where they just make sure that they're not focused and they're not successful. So, I have to say it, I had to separate myself from black people for the most part because the conversation is not the same. And I'm going to say this because I think there's two groups to every element or every agenda. You've got educated black people who are still enslaved mentally, that they feel like they're slaves, but they drive in Bentleys and Maybachs. I mean, and then you have the black people I'm going to stick with black men who have been struggling and get the bad end of the stick when it comes to trying to support their families and build something because their black women are, oh, well, I don't need you because the government is going to do this and the Democrats are
Yep.
going to give me this.
And that was the deal, in order to stay in on projects, the man had to be out of the home.
Yeah.
The father could not be in the home. And in order to get some of the subsidies today, that's still almost the case. You got to be very low income in order to get anything done. And it's sad because you may have a elderly person that has cancer, right?
Right.
But you can only have so much money in the bank in order to get help. So that is just it's crazy, and how they remove the fathers out of the home. And then on top of that, they try to instill in their kids to hate the father, to hate the father. So they'll go and make up all kind of lies against the man, and it's sad because a lot of times the kids grow up believing those lies. It isn't until they get of age that they get the chance to actually have that relationship or have that bond with their fathers. So, and then what happens? Then they begin to hate their mother because she the one caused the years of separation with her lies and her anger and her bitterness, you know. And
I mean,
and that's what a lot of young black kids go through in these very, very hostile situations, you know. And it's just like, for me, with my program Curly's House, right? For years back in the day when we used to get volunteers, and I got, in order to get food stamps, they had to do community service hours. So I got a chance to really work with these young ladies and understand, but I just couldn't relate to how a lot of them thought it was okay to continue that cycle that they had established with the projects. Like the grandmother grew up in the projects, then the next one, and the next one, and the next generation. You got over 3 generations of people that was raised in the projects that just got comfortable to that lifestyle of doing absolutely nothing but sitting at home and getting a check. Now I can understand if somebody had like a sick kid, or a child with disabilities or whatever, but just to sit back and decide that, and the checks were small as shit, like $100, but they was good with that shit. They was actually good with that shit. And I would sit there and look at and talk to them like, how can y'all live off of that shit and get comfortable with it and feel like that little bit, where are your skills, where are your aspirations, what are your dreams? Is there anything that you want to do with your life besides trick and go to the club, shake your ass on the weekend? Come on. It's more to life than that. It's more to life than that. So when I look at that movie Straw that Tyler Perry did, that's exactly the type of people that I was dealing with, just like that young lady was in that movie, you know. And when you working with them, it's very hard to talk to them because they have been around so many people with so much negativity going on, nothing fucking positive. So in order to really break through that mold to get them to listen to you, they don't want to hear shit you gotta say because they comfortable with that lifestyle. And that goes back to what BABC was saying, when he's talking about the blacks that are so um like dedicated to the Democratic Party. That's because of the news media and everything else that brainwashed our community into believing their lies. We believe those people had our best interests at heart and everything, We believe that for many, many years, for many, many, many of us, because I was a Democrat. And I always thought, oh, they want to help us. And I found out that was not the case. I found out the hard way that was really not the case. So I'm saying that to say this: waking up to anything that deals with reality is not an easy thing. Sometimes it can be very painful, but you got to do what you got to do and level up. And that's why when I talk to like different people that have that type of mentality, you know, I always tell them that you need to look at more than just than the local news. Look at these podcasts, look on YouTube, look at the shows like The Hood Conservative. Look at these podcasts, look at these spaces, because we are going to teach you a fucking lot. We're going to open up the windows of your mind and challenge you into actually thinking and using your fucking brain and not just sitting back believing shit that people tell you or things that you heard, especially in our community. A lot of times we grow up, we could be hating somebody just because of what somebody else said about the person. And
And don't
especially
even
for me,
and don't even know.
especially for me, I have experienced that all my life with so many people that really dislike me, don't even fucking know me, don't even know shit about me, but because another dumb bitch told them some shit and they believe it, and then it's, oh, I don't like her. Like I give a fuck. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. But see, I was always now y'all ain't gonna believe this shit, but I'm getting ready to tell y'all some real shit, and it's the truth. I was always quiet. So, when you have an organization, you gotta go out to these meetings, you gotta meet everybody. You don't have no choice. So I had to go out. But I was always quiet. So because I was quiet and never said anything, I always just listen. I always just listen. So, they had formed this little thing about what they had to say about me and everything. So just the other year, this girl, we had this text, right? About 15, 20 people in the text. So she said some things about me, right? That I really didn't like. So I let her know. I told her, sweetheart, you are bargaining because my coworker, her name is Laverne also. So I had to explain to her that right now you barking up the wrong motherfucking tree and you talking to the wrong Laverne. Now you need to go talk to that other one because she ain't gonna say shit. But you keep fucking with me, I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I let her know. So she has some things to say, but this is somebody, right, that always wanted a cleaning business. She always wanted a cleaning business. And at every meeting, she is the loudest one in the room. Every meeting, she is so fucking loud, right? So when she really hit my last nerve, I let her know. I've been in business for over 30 years, helping people that are struggling, helping this community, helping people that have been through so much, right? And I established my business. Like I said, that was just one that I was doing 30 years for 30 years, right? I told her, bitch, you want a cleaning service. The only thing you need is a broom, dustpan, mop, and some cleaning stuff, which you can carry your ass to the Dollar Tree and get it. You can't even start a fucking cleaning business. So shut the fuck up. Because I'm getting ready to show you who the fraud is in this group. So I went, we pulled her record. She had about 10 felony charges. And I draw every felony charge right down in the text. Every charge I put it in the group. Everyone. And her charges went back from the 80s to the drug crimes. She recently had one for the attack on the police officer and the fire officer in the 20s, right? So once I throw all of that stuff out there and let her ass know that I told her, don't fuck with me. When I throw that shit out there and let everybody know, then what she do? Oh, now when she's out, oh, y'all need to help Curly's house. Laverne is doing a great job. And she's doing an excellent job, and y'all need to really help her. And somebody said, Laverne, you turned a mental patient into your best supporter. Because, you got to let people know that, hey, I'm not going to take your shit. Because that's what happened when people snap. It's like that little last straw on the camel's back. It's that little straw, that one last straw that break that camel's back. But guess what? If you was getting that shit off your chest and letting them motherfuckers know that you're not going to tolerate their shit, then you would feel a whole lot better. Because, baby, when I tell you I got homegirl together, I got her dumb ass together, okay? So now she give me all the respect. And when she's out speaking, she always talk about what a great job we doing at Curly's house because I let her motherfucking ass know.
Somebody put in your comments that Trump was removing Black history and throwing away the legacy of Martin Luther King because Trump elected to remove the bust of Martin Luther King from the Oval Office. Now, I know you love Martin Luther King, Laverne, but my entire life, my grandfather, my grandfather knew Martin Luther King.
No.
My grandfather said Martin Luther King was a bad man. He was stealing money from the Southern Leadership Conference. He forged all of his papers to get all of his degrees. He was a womanizer. He did drugs. My grandfather told me this, which is why my grandfather left that movement. So I would be in elementary school when, they have always Martin Luther King Day or Black History Month. And I would say, look, my grandfather told me that Martin Luther King was a bad man, and he knew Martin Luther King firsthand, and he saw him with two women at the same time. So my teacher would bust me over my back with her ruler. Like, don't you talk about Martin. I hate Martin Luther King because I always used to get in trouble in school when I told the truth with my grandfather's firsthand stories. But anyway, to that person who's saying that Trump is removing Black history, Trump is not removing Black history. He can decorate and organize the Oval Office any way he sees fit. As a matter of fact, he put some he put some class on it because he added some gold to the White House. So I just wanted to check that person in your comments because Trump
in our comments, co-host, in our comments. Now, let me respond to that comment, okay? Because let me respond to that comment. Let me tell you this, right? So, we have a group here in Miami, Liberty City Black community, and it's maybe about 15 or 20. They're very highly intelligent motherfuckers that know every rule and regulation from Section 3 to hood rules. I mean, you give it to them, they can lay it out for you, right? But when they get together, they can never agree and work together to pull off any damn thing. They just like to go out and speak, to hear themselves speak, because I'm so fabulous and I know all these codes to HUD and I know everything. And y'all motherfuckers need to be listening to me because I am the shit. Okay, that's their attitude, but they can't pull off shit, but they can give a good speech, right? So one of them, which is Dr. Christian. a freedom fighter. She marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, and she told us some of the stories. And what she said was that when they went across that bridge in Selma, she said Dr. Luther King did not march with them. He was on the other side waiting on them. She said they got sprayed with water hose. They ass got rolled across that damn bridge
That
with
up.
that damn water hose. They sit the dogs on them. They got their ass whooped. And she said he was on the side of that shit. Oh, and so when she tell those stories, it is like it's so funny, but she was a part of that. So when people that was there, when they tell those stories, it's always something different than what we have always heard. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you want to talk about Malcolm X, his shit's still going strong today. A lot of the things he said is still going strong. And matter of fact, Betty Shabazz talk about those projects
Right.
and how that was the downfall of the Black community.
I was at my house that I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, is 3 houses over from the house that Malcolm X was born in. So he was born on my street. My grandfather was there. So I know a whole lot of little secrets. Because actually, it was my grandfather who told him that he needed to stop putting Black people in harm's way. And there was a group of, actually, not just my grandfather, but there was a group of them that walked away from that whole movement because they like, we'd be damned if you let somebody bust us over the head. But all of these people know these, intimate stories about Dr. Martin Luther King, who everybody gets talked about as a god. And you know why they tell you that? Because he told you to get bust over your goddamn head. Now,
Fuck that.
anybody, and he
That
was,
ain't never been like
you know what I'm
that's
saying? So that's what
no.
the whole thing I knew growing up. I knew my grandfather was right because the little stuff that they showed you about Martin Luther King during Black History Month, the dogs, the water hoses, people getting hit, all of that was everything that the group of friends that my grandfather put together to fight against Martin Luther King and ended up working with Malcolm X.
Okay. So now we're going to be clear about this illegal thing. We believe that if people want to come here, they should be vetted. We should know who they are. And them motherfuckers need to go get some ID. Okay? We want y'all to go get a damn ID so we would know who exactly you are. That's what we are saying. Not just bring your ass in here illegally. You need to become legal. You need to do it legally. That's what we are saying here. That's what we are saying. Now,
I want to thank all 3,500 of you all that have joined us tonight
woohoo!
so much.
Woohoo! Yes. Yes, yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Thank you guys. We just actually tried out Monday because a little secret, Laverne's show has some interest by a bigger network. And so we're building the audience so that we can close that contract deal. And this Monday night, one of our producers said, hey, Monday night is really a good night to do it. So this is our first Hood Conservative special edition Monday night. And thank you guys for joining.
And I like it. I like it. Just like that song. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I like it. So I want to also give a shout out to All Year. They came out and they fixed our AC. And they okay, y'all, let me tell you something. Okay, so the church paid for our AC. And I want to thank the church so much. I don't even know the name of the church, but I'm really grateful to them for them, paying for us to get an AC because y'all know Miami is hot all year around. We got one season and it's called hot as hell season. I don't care if it's in November, December. We may have 1 or 2 days of cold weather, but the rest of it is so damn hot. If you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning in Miami, it's like 80 and 90 degrees and humid. And humid. So I don't even know how people survive here without an AC or if their AC is not working. So all year they came out, they put a unit in, and I really wasn't happy with that unit they put in because the guy he put in the wrong size unit. We had a 3 point and he bought us a 2.5. But I would say this, they did fix the problem. And now it's really cool in here and it's nice. Y'all see, I got on these long sleeves, right? The other week I was hot as hell. I had on a damn tank top
Ah,
doing this show. It was so hot. It was so hot in here and I was sweating. But thank you all year. Thank you, Ronnie, because Ronnie did call me and he made sure that he took care of it and they did a really really great job. So if y'all need some service, call all year. No, they didn't pay me to say this, and they are in Broward County, but like I said, they did come out and they fixed the AC. We got a new one, and they did a really great job. They sent some very professional guys out. They put that unit in and cleaned up all of their mess, because sometimes when you get people that come out, when they get finished, they leave their little trash and stuff around. These guys clean up behind themselves, and I'm glad they did, okay? Because I would have told them to get that damn broom, clean up y'all stuff. I am not the maid, okay? But all you did a great job. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you so much, Bianca, for everything that y'all did to help us. And I really, really appreciate that. I really appreciate that because, that makes a big difference, especially when like when you helping people. A lot of times these people are so broken, they're so hurt, they come out and they're really angry and they're really hostile. So when you have a program like mine, it's not easy. And I do go outside and I work with these people. I can't even believe I'm doing that, but I'm out there and I'm working with them. But when you work with the homeless population, and I'm talking about the homeless people now, I'm talking about the homeless people. They are so grateful. A lot of times, these are very grateful people. They are, a lot of them are very intelligent people, y'all. A lot of them are highly intelligent. They're not just a bunch of homeless, ignorant people. No. And also, I hope that the Trump administration would do more to help these homeless vets that are sleeping down in the streets, because these people have put their life on the line for this country and they do not deserve to be sleeping in the streets. We know a lot of times it's because of mental health, but do something to help them, especially for the ones that really want their help. I hope that they will do something and definitely make a change with that VA.
well, I want to give an update because Trump just jumped on Tucker Carlson. He said, somebody please explain to Kuki Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I guess I'm kooky too, President Trump, because we all know that everybody should be able to defend themselves. So just because we disagree does not mean that we are kooky. Just wanted to put that out.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
Come on, Tucker's done you a great service. Just because he disagrees with you, and I know you'll get out of pocket real quick with anybody. Anybody can get it with President Trump. But come on, you're falling out with Elon, Tucker. Eventually, people gonna reel this in and say, you know what, Trump might be the problem. So, keep on whatever your personal issues are with people who have gone above and beyond. I know you hired Tucker's son, but however, people have gone above and beyond, put their life on the line for you. And just because they disagree with you, don't mean they're crazy. You might need to go back into some retrospective thinking and sit down for a minute without these advisors around. Well, I don't know if your advisors are telling you this, but come on now, President Trump, we rock with you. You don't want us to get to the point where we love you and we don't like you, because that's, if you know what that is, you can be married to somebody and you love them, but you don't like them. And that's not a good situation. And I think Trump is pushing a lot of Americans to that place who really ride for him. So come on, let's do some thinking about this before you just start busting out calling people names that actually, will go to the ninth mile for you.
Yeah, that's a lot right there.
It's a lot. Come on,
That's a
bro.
lot.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. Come on, bro. We gotta look. Sometimes, regardless of what type of advisors you have, sometimes you just need to spend a little time alone just to sit back and think and
You know,
reorganize your thoughts. and then go back to the drawing board or go back to the table. Okay. So
Because he
what I
put
want to,
in capital, he put Kooky in caps.
uh, I mean, that's like kind of hard because
You know,
when you think about Tucker Carlson, that's somebody that really went hard for him.
I'm
You
telling
know, I mean, you gave this man like all the best shout outs, and you praised him, put him on a pedestal, and he's calling you
you,
cuckoo, cuckoo,
Kooky,
cuckoo.
Koky, Kooky.
Okay, that's still a shortcut to the cuckoo,
I know, right?
cuckoo.
I'm like, come on, President Trump. We want to rock with you, but there's just a way to do things. But then if we look back at it, I don't know if it's because Trump has gotten older, because Trump would do a clap back and it would be perfect timing. It'd be like zing, it'd be perfect. But some of these clapbacks he's doing lately, I don't know if it's because of age and he just don't give a damn, or he's a lame duck president because he doesn't have to run again. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something different about President Trump, because he would always be a little bit more artful, a little bit more masterful in his attacks. And now it's like, okay, what's up, bruh? What we doing? So, what we doing, President Trump? Come on now.
So, we have a lot of people like what 3.8 thousand right now that's up here. And I have a question because I have been hearing this, but I don't know if it's true or not, especially if you're in Florida. I heard that Congress passed a new law that if you musty, that they have and one about being musty and they have the right to lock you up.
Hey, I'm agreeing with that. Shit, hell yeah.
But some people, but this the thing about it, I mean, I don't like musty motherfuckers neither. Don't get it wrong. But sometimes people can have like certain illness or whatever. And I once met a girl that had like this girl stank so bad. And it was just a body odor. It wasn't because she didn't take a shower. The girl just smelled like a skunk. Okay. So she had to have, like, I'm serious. She had to have like some type of health condition. So what about people that have a health condition
So hard shit.
and they musty and it don't matter what you use. But if it don't matter what they use and they can't get rid of the musty ass smell, then what the fuck they supposed to do?
I don't know, but I ran across the man maybe a month ago, and he smelled. You ever had a funk go straight down your throat, and that
Yes, Lord.
funk is on your mouth, in your mouth? That's why I'm
Yes.
all for this bill, because that was treacherous. It was torture. I had PTSD from that man that walked past me, and it went straight. It was like a knife. It was like all up on my tonsils. It was terrible. I mean, it was bad. So yeah, I mean, people need to have a regard, for the. And I felt like I was harmed by that man. To be honest, I felt like I was physically harmed by him and his funk. So I'm
Yeah,
all
because
for that
some
bill.
phone will do that for you. You know, that
You
phone
know what
can
I'm
be
saying?
really, really strong and woo, Jesus, yes, Lord. Because sometimes I'm out and people walk by and you be like, damn, that
Right.
motherfucker stink. You know what I'm saying?
And
Woo,
like they don't smell
Jesus.
it.
I
I
think
mean,
that because it's them, they don't smell it. And
are they,
you know, and the
are they being
reason I would say that is because one time I had a big fat one that worked in the front office and she was funkified. And funkified is like funky past another level, so we call it funkified. Okay. And it's like Jesus, when you have that little talk with them, because I'm gonna have that talk. If you around here and you funky and stinky as hell, I'm gonna have that talk with you, you know. And I just got to keep it real, baby. You need to bathe, like hit high and hit low, because you are loud, okay? And I'm not saying that for them to get offended. And I make it clear. I'm not saying that, young lady, for you to be offended, but you need to like get in some water. And I help them. Because I be like, even if you don't have no water at your house, we do have a bathroom. You can get you a plastic, something go on the floor, and you just soap and water, baby. Hit high, hit low, soap in the water, honey, and do your thing. And then when you get finished, I'm gonna make you a nice little bottle of perfume so you can smell good. Okay. Now I know one was outside the other week, and I did have that talk with them. It was two that was real funky, but they been bathing. They been doing something. I don't know what the hell they did, but they ain't funky like they was. Cause when you funky and you out there in that hot sun, that hot Miami sun, that thing just echoing and just blowing it all through the air everywhere. And it's rough. It's rough. So I have to tell them because I can't take that shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't take it.
It's
And then and then the funny thing that she said, yes, and I just donated some clothing to so and so. I said, oh my God, I know you ain't took no bath in it. Oh my God, I know they throw that stuff straight in the trash can
immediately. Well, I mean,
immediately.
I'll say her heart was in the right place.
Yeah, her heart was, but baby, she needed that soap and water to join on in with her heart and smooth things on out. Okay, she needed to smooth it out.
Okay, well, I felt like I was assaulted by that man that walked by, and his smell hit me like a brick. And I breathed, and the smell went in my mouth. And I promise you, I was traumatized. I literally, because that taste, it was like, it wasn't even onion, it was like fermented onion. Like it
That's
just,
the worst one.
you know what I mean? It
That's
was
the
like,
worst one. That onion smell.
so
Ooh, Jesus.
I,
And
it's,
then also y'all let me know, right? Let me know about that. If that's true that they passed the law. And another thing I want to know about, and this one is really dear to my heart, that I'm really concerned about, y'all, seriously. They said that they're passing a law about farting and passing gas. That's another one I want to know about. Is that true? They said they passed a law about farting.
I'm, I have,
That
I'm gonna have to Google and see if those are right because
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Because this the thing, right? How you gonna lock people up for farting when in Miami all they eating is beans and rice? And
right.
if you eating beans, you gonna pass that gas, okay? You gonna be straight passing gas. So I do want to know about those two. I want to know.
I don't see a fart law.
You don't? What about
Mm-mm.
the musty one?
Hold on. No, no,
No?
no.
Okay, I was really concerned about one more so than the other one. I was really concerned about that. Okay, y'all, now let's get into some juicy stuff. I want to get into some real, real juicy stuff, right? Let's talk about Congress. I want to talk about Congress and all of those laws that they are making. And not only that, what about all the ones that are from these other countries that clearly have no fucks to give about the country here? And, they clearly don't work for us, y'all. We need a new group of people in Congress. We need to get rid of Maxine, old ass buzzer Walters. She
I mean,
needs to go.
so if we look at this, we are possibly going to be dragged into a world war, and it will take a vote from Congress in order in which to do so. And this is what the American people should demand. Any member of Congress that has taken money from APAC their vote should not be counted because they are already compromised. They were
Yes.
complaining about these Mexican flags and everything flying at the raids and riots in LA. But all of these politicians have an Israeli flag posted on their wall, 5 by 5 foot flags in their offices. That is treason. So there shouldn't be a single member of Congress that should be allowed to vote on on America going into war with Israel against Iran and its allies if they have taken a penny from AIPAC. And right now we've got Trump with $230 million that he's taken from a foreign entity to push their agenda. So do we have a president right now, or is it that we were all played? Because how is our president taking 230, maybe 280 million from Israel to push their agendas? Every member of Congress, we're talking millions, hundreds of thousands. Nobody should be happy with this. Nobody should even be comfortable with the fact that we have elected officials in our federal government that have pledged allegiance to a foreign nation. And everybody gets on, well, Israel is our ally. I'm going to tell white people something. White people, y'all need to wake up, because Jews have been dogging y'all out since the fact that they owned all the slave ships and put all the blame of slavery on white people. Jews fund BLM. Jews keep black people and white people fighting. So now we're looking at everybody in Alabama who's taking money from AIPAC. All of these people would have the right to send Americans into war, to send your sons and daughters to be killed for Israel in their unprovoked war. I am highly against any and all of this. So none of these people represent us. Guess who they do represent? They represent Israel. And so this term limit situation that Trump is trying to pass, will they vote on it? Will they eliminate themselves? I highly doubt it. There has to be an executive order to demand term limits expeditiously. We cannot ask Congress to kill them, to shoot themselves in the foot. That's not going to happen. So I will tell you, any member of Congress, the Senate, the House that has taken a dime from AIPAC should not be able to vote to send your children to be killed in the name of Israel. So white people, wake up. The reason why we have all these riots and where that money comes from, these poor people out there that get out there and scream and break windows and loot, they don't have the money. You guess who does have the money? You've got your George Soroses and your big entity, agendas that will come out and pay these people to tear up this country. And a lot of that money comes from Jewish entities. So I need white people, y'all need to wake up. Black people are scared of Jews. Y'all still have guns. Y'all still can fight. I'm trying to, unite with white people, because that's the only way that America survives from foreign entities like Israel, when white people and black people get together. But until we do that, you're going to have a country that's running all of your politicians, that says where your billions of dollars can go, and that they're going to kill your sons and daughters. So white America, wake up. I'm with you. We need to unite against this Israeli element that is invading our freedom of speech and making devout our Constitution. When you start passing Israeli supremacy legislation, we have a problem. And so for me, the reason why I fight so heavily against Israel is because of those entities like that. Any entity that will come in and devour our Constitution must fall.
I agree. I agree. America must come first.
And
That's why we need. That's why we need these people that are in Congress that do not have our best interests in heart for this country should not be representing this country. They should not.
None of them do. And I'm not America first. I'm going to just keep it 100. I'm Americans first. America first forgot all about us. Everybody that put these people in office, America first has made sure, BlackRock gets to run this. Who's going to, put these bond funds back and forth with the big bankers. That's America first. The banks, BlackRock, Americans first is what we should all be. And I am going to say it. This administration, as much as we get these little frills of freedom and we get these little, Trump did this and we did that, The big picture, we got sold out to Palantir. The big picture, we're probably going to get, drawn into this war. So it's no longer Americans first. That American first agenda is about the economy. Who's moving the economy? Big banks, big oil, big pharma, Raytheon, BlackRock, Palantir. It has nothing to do with us. We are the minions that they get ready to squash when they want to be entertained. So if we don't,
Especially when you're talking about big pharma.
and we don't get rid of this current administration all the way around, Republicans, Democrats, presidents, they all got to go, because we've seen, and what is this, June, 6 months, 6 months. We're not even a full 6 months. It'll be 6 months on June 20th. We've seen that turn. There, all of you, no matter how much we love Trump, we all have to just admit something is fucking happening, and it's not good for Americans.
Not at all.
That's it's got to be said. Everybody's sitting back. Well, Trump's going to come through for us. I don't like, just like Trump, I don't trust anybody. Just like Trump doesn't trust JD Vance, I don't trust Trump to do for us. We have to do for us, because he's already taken $230 million from a foreign entity. Guess who's coming first? They are.
And I think that at the end of the day, it's going to be we the people. We the people are going to have to stand up. We're going to have to fight, And it's, like I said, it's going to be us against them. Like she said, we got so many special interest groups that are involved. And who knows what Big Pharma is planning next? Who knows what they're planning next? I mean, we're hearing all type of conversations, about all kind of prehistoric animals that they're trying to bring back to life. All kind of crazy shit going on. So how do we know what is going to happen next?
Well, you know what? I'm into progress. I believe in progression. But I also believe in upholding our Constitution by any means necessary. And whatever it is, anything that is going to try and come and rip our freedoms that are, endowed within that document, I want you all dead. You can die, your kids can die. Anybody who's trying to do that in this country, the United States of America, you can die. I'm so serious about that, because it's the only thing we have left. We saw how they steal elections. We saw how they spy on you. I bear witness. The feds tracked me for a year and a half outside my door, letting me know they were outside. There is no other freedom outside of the Constitution. So when everybody's weak and a pussy and doesn't want to get up and fight, you deserve to lose everything that was given to you. And once we lose freedom, you can never get it back. So
You're right.
I'm out here fighting firsthand, boots on the ground, track record. I'm gonna say it, but I'm gonna back it up. And we need more soldiers. We need more American soldiers, not in the military, but everyday Americans, to get up and fight back against this government and these institutions that have a strong hold on what we can do, what we cannot do, that defies that Constitution, that these men sat down and wrote a document that still can cover us to this day back in 1800s. So when you don't want to get out and fight, you don't want to get up and do anything to protect that, you deserve to lose it. But get away from me, because I'm not trying to lose like you. I'm not trying to do it. I'm here. I'm a true red-blooded American. I've been all over the world. And I think that's another thing. A lot of these conservatives and these MAGA people, they haven't been nowhere. They still in a 300 population city in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Like it's the education factor of MAGA, I'm going to be honest, is not as high as the education factor of Democrats. Democrats by far and large are more educated, stupid, mentally enslaved, but they are higher educated. They've traveled the world. They know a little bit better than the MAGA, a large sector of the MAGA audience who's in the country. And there are farmers and there are agricultural masters. They haven't been anywhere, because what matters to them are those crops, getting those crops to market for the American people. But that also means that they're closed-minded and they think what they're told and they do what they're told. So I think that's a huge issue with MAGA. And something else that destroyed MAGA, whether people want to say it or not, Israel. This Israeli war, there's a huge sector of MAGA that's like, look, we don't want this. And then you got the whole other half of the country, we don't want this. And so what I'm seeing is Trump, kick the face in of Tucker Carlson as opposed to kicking faces in of what the people elected him, that, the people who are against the people who elected him. And I'm disappointed. I just can't say. I'm like, what is happening with Trump? Anybody who wants to just deny, oh, Trump's going to do it. You're pushing the button too soon. No, I'm not. You watch people with their actions, because if they show you once, that believe them who believe who they are. And I'm starting to wonder. I'm like, okay, does Trump not care anymore because he doesn't have to run for election anymore, and he's just riding out, letting everybody get their money at the expense of the American people? Is that what's happening? Because the more and more I look at it, the more I digest what's happening, that's what I see. And it's beyond disappointing. It's almost just malicious. So, Trump, come through and prove us wrong, because, shit looking backwards right now.
Well, like she said, people, now's the time to stand up, and we have to create soldiers. We need soldiers. Now's not the time to back down and worry about who you're going to offend because of something you said. Now's the time to take a stand and stand up, you know. And that's the problem. So many people are afraid. They worrying about what their neighbors are going to think. What is your family members going to think? You got to take a stand for something. Stand up and fight for your country while we still have one. We don't want this country to end up looking nothing like Cuba. Nothing like Cuba. We see how that place has been totally destroyed. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like living in a place where when you only get so much food per month to live off of, you know. And
Was it Ronald Reagan who said we are only one generation away from losing all freedoms, and once it's lost, we can never get it back? I think that
yeah,
was, pretty sure it was Ronald Reagan. And
yes,
that's a more true quote. And everybody's sitting around waiting for everybody else to get out and do
do
something.
something. No, take that stand. Be that man. Lead by example. Lead by example.
So I just, I'm going to stay on you guys' behinds, because I understand how critical and how crucial of a stage that this country is in. If you've been paying attention to the news, we've got all of these sectors of countries coming together on one side of this war, and on the opposite side, the same thing. It's serious, because oil is up 5%. I hope y'all went long on the oil stocks. If you haven't, go do it, because we've got tankers moving from the south heading towards Europe. These refueling tankers. What do those refueling tankers need? They need gas. What is this going to have? All of this is going to, take oil to fuel this war. So if you haven't gone long on oil stocks, here's a financial tip. You still have time, because it's going to go up from here. But it's up 5% right now. Stay strong on crypto, because when this economy crashes, on the first sign of, the United States has now entered this war, crypto and gold, oil, crypto and gold.
Crypto and gold.
So there's our financial literacy moment.
So, do we have any more clips, G?
Go long Raytheon. Go long Lockheed Martin.
Accountability. I am demanding full accountability and reimbursement for the local costs incurred, including injuries to local officers and damages caused by the chaos unleashed when the Trump administration recklessly deployed the military and ICE agents into our communities. They are the ones who created this unrest, and they are the ones that need to foot the bill.
I,
Well,
I have seen clips where the Obama administration deported illegals. I think the Clinton administration deported illegals. Now, nobody said nothing, but anything that Trump does, all hell is going to break loose. It doesn't matter what it is. They just going to fight against everything to the point where you see the most ridiculous things that are taking place. Like when they asked them, the left, um, Tim Watts, what is the definition of a woman? Crickets. He can't describe. He cannot explain. He cannot provide the definition of a woman. This is the type of stupidity that we are dealing with in today's world. And you saw what took place with the two people that was killed the other day, the people that, the elected officials.
In Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they caught him today in the forest somewhere. Um, but this is something else I think that we as Americans also need to step into. Laverne, how you just said, the left, we want to consider ourselves to be the right. It's intentional for us to stay divided, whether it's in politics, whether it's about war, whether it's about race. It doesn't matter. All of these agendas, they just switch, clothing. Right before this war, or right before these marches and these, riots, it was illegals. And then, okay, now we get that the legals get quiet for a minute, and now they come back and they start riots, and now we're all divided on that. And then the riots get squashed, and because the war has started and we're divided on that, it's a constant roll up of division. And I'm not going to say, I'm guilty of it too. So I'm just going to stop saying Democrats. I'm going to stop saying the left. I'm going to stop saying all of that, because we actually, no matter if we disagree with whatever it may be, we all are going to have to come together and fight. So while we got Democrats over there wanting to, like I just said, you got Democrats, or you got the left over here trying to throw raids on the president's birthday. And at the end of the day, when y'all woke up the next morning, he was still your president. And so your raids meant
That part right there.
your riots meant nothing.
Oh, and happy birthday, President Trump.
Trump, happy birthday. So it's like, look,
happy belated.
Yeah,
that is. But go ahead.
We are still all part of the problem, because we keep still separating ourselves. Because I used to be a hardcore Democrat, just as hardcore as I am a conservative for conservative values.
Me too. I was the same thing.
Right.
Same thing here.
So
I didn't want to hear nothing about nothing.
Exactly. So I'm like, look, I've reached out to people. They still love me. They hate who I'm associated with, but they still love me because I'm me. It's not about, anything else, because I've always been me, and what they've always loved was me. So I think people need to start making people love them for themselves, not what they're associated with, not what party they're with, not what they feel about any type of race or culture or country. I think this move right now is we don't have time to do anything else, because should we get dragged into this war with Israel, the economy is going to collapse. You've got all of these different fires that are still smoking that haven't been put out. And so the country falls. Israel sent a message, if Israel falls, America falls. Motherfucker, we don't need y'all for shit. Y'all beggars. Y'all are started a war, and y'all begging for us to come get y'all back, because y'all getting the shit bombed out of you right now. Iran had been planning for this moment the whole time, and y'all wanted to get froggy, and now you got to call Britain, you got to call France, you got to call these people. No, you get in the war, stand on business, you do that shit yourself. But you trying to bring America into it, so we don't need you, because we sent you the weapons for you to fight the war. We don't need you. Stop disrespecting America, saying, oh, if Israel falls, America. Fuck you. We are America. We are Americans, tried and true. So if you get eliminated, we're still going to be here. So I need America to really listen to, this fool turned around and said, oh, we started the war because it was going to be a Holocaust on Jews. And then the next day he said, oh, we started the war because he wanted to kill President Trump. Shut the fuck We don't want your stupid war. We don't really want you in the country fucking messing with our politics and our constitution. Like, but it's a good thing, I think, because Americans are being able to witness firsthand, the tragic energy that Israel is bringing to Americans. And so it's not that I hate Jews. I hate that evil bullshit that Jews are associated with, but I want all Americans to be able to, get together and somehow fight for this country, because with all this division and all these different fires and all of these, inclement wars coming in, we need to get it together, because that will be a bigger, it'll be a bigger blow to this country than anything that we've seen since 2008, when the economy collapsed. Well, when it was collapsed. So.
And a lot of this is just a distraction, people. A lot of this is just to distract us because they have so much stuff going on. Every time we look up, it's like another fire, another epidemic, another this, and another surprise. But at the end of the day, we got to remain steadfast and focus on what we, the people, need to be doing.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's going to be us, we the people. We don't have a Congress that's fighting for us. They're not fighting for us. They're fighting. It's all about them. They don't even give a fuck about the people. They don't care about their constituents. They do not care. And they show us this all the time. And if you don't believe it, call their office. Call their office and see what kind of response do you all get, you know. And I always tell people, like, sometime when they come and ask me something, call the one that you voted for. Call your elected officials. Call them and see what kind of help can you get. Call them. Call them.
So yeah, I sent you a clip. I want to just stay on this topic for just a little bit more. I sent you a clip just right before the show. Can you run that? Are you there?
Mark.
Mark.
Hello.
Mark, G.
Okay.
There. So this is Tel Aviv in the daytime. You can see that these areas have been hit by bombs, multiple bombs. But you also see that these structures are still standing and did not collapse like Building 7. These buildings were hit by bombs. Mind you, the buildings that collapsed were made of the strongest steel ever made in the history of mankind. But these buildings that were hit by bombs, their structures did not implode like 9/11. And that's when I'll tell everybody, don't ever trust your government. Your government tried to kill you with COVID. They killed your cousins. You couldn't go to your grandmother's funeral. Your government did that to you. Your government disguised bombs as planes. They faked the Pentagon hit. They gave, Larry Silverstein a $3 billion payout. They actually set everybody up. And if 9/11 escapes you and Building 7 just collapsed and nothing hit it, and if you missed all that, you can't, let me tell you, you cannot miss what they did to you. And they locked you all down and killed your family during COVID, collapsed the economy, had you scared of the person who saved your life because you didn't
Had
think
you scared of everybody because
was
people
scared
was
of it.
afraid to be together in spaces. And not only that, look how many small businesses lost their
Intentional.
complete livelihood. Look
And,
how many churches, how many small churches went out of business.
but
Look how many people were afraid to go outside. How many people were afraid to go anywhere near family members, friends. They had old people that were left alone. Nobody visited them. They was afraid. But in the meantime, your Congress that was encouraging you to distance yourself, to
get
get
back.
the shots, to wear your mask, and to make sure you get your booster also, right? Your Congress, what was they doing? They was flying their families around the world. They were
Never.
throwing parties.
Congress was not mandated to get vaccinated. That's what America
Exactly.
realized.
Exactly.
So your
And neither was their legals.
right,
And neither was their
exactly.
legals.
Your government
Now,
Your
right.
government took your business. Your government made it so the Walmarts and the bigger large corporations would survive, and all of you lost your businesses. All of you had to wait for PPP, and a lot of y'all faked it. So now Trump gonna put you in jail. So it's like, look, your government is your worst enemy. That's why I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier. No matter if you consider yourself a Democrat, a liberal, or whatever it is, we need to start just getting together with people and loving people for them as opposed to what they might be connected to. Because we don't have time. If you look at the current events of what the government has plagued the American people with, you know they about to do their big one. They got to do their big one. You thought COVID was big, the government has to do their big one. So we got to get together as the people. It is not. This is not fake. What I'm saying, I've actually just this weekend I just kind of reconnected with people who I was hanging out with as a Democrat. Just laughing. And them saying, you know what, I always loved you, Trevian, but you got on my goddamn nerves with that fucking President Trump. But all that we can get past it. If I can get past it with the people I used to kick it with and stop kicking it with, and now we talking again, you all can do it as Americans. I think you need to reach out to your family members. There's a war looming over us that has more tragic probabilities than what we may have seen, since World War II. So I'm just saying, get together with people, become this common,
Reconnect.
yeah, become this.
Reconnect with your family members, reconnect with your friends. A lot of people stop speaking to their sisters, their brothers, their fathers, mothers. It was just like hell broke loose. But now, people, it's time to reconnect with your families, with
Don't
your
let
loved ones, because at the end of the day, you cannot change who your family members are. You cannot change your brothers and sisters. They're going to still be your brothers and sisters, whether you like them or not. That's not going to change. So at the end of the day, it's just like Trevian said. We so many people watch the news, believe everything that's being said on their local news stations that was selling y'all a bunch of lies. Instead of just watching the news, do your homework. Why would they tell me to distance myself, but I'm seeing Obama throw a whole fucking party for all of his friends in a tent? Then nobody there have on no mask. And I saw other people that was in Congress flying their families around the world to go on vacation trips. They didn't distance themselves. So why in
and
the hell would I have to distance
yeah,
myself?
and Gavin
Why the
Newsom.
hell would I have to distance myself? Okay.
That's right.
Do the math. If that one and one don't equal two, something wrong with that shit. Okay. And stop believing all that shit that they just they just conjure up, and conjure is the right word because most of it come from hell. Okay. They just conjure up some bullshit to tell y'all, and y'all take that shit to heart and believe it. Stop believing that dumb shit. Just stop believing, because if it don't make no sense, then something is wrong with it. And also, please ask common sense to come back. Ask common sense to come the fuck back. Common sense, I know you've been gone for a little while, but it's time for us to reconnect too. Reconnect the common damn sense. Because common sense is not common. And we see that all the time. We know that, and we see it all the time, especially if you want to talk about this pride shit, the trans stuff. Who in their right mind will have their kids out there at a pride parade where people are nude? Who would have their little kids, little Johnny, little Mindy, little Bobby out there at the damn pride parade? You know, that makes absolutely no sense. So let's bring common sense back.
And part of that is never trusting your government. Okay. That's rule number one. Never trust your government. It doesn't matter who's in charge of it. Not a single person in federal government gives a damn about anything but lining their pockets. You see it every time. They have a $175,000 salary. And in that first 4 years of being in that chair, being in that seat, that elected position, they come out with a $10 million net worth, $25 million net worth. It
Or
was
mansions all across the United States and everything else.
it was never meant for the American people. So what we need to focus on, and I'm just going to tell everybody, start running for your local offices. Fuck
Seats.
that federal shit, because whatever they're doing on that level, you can control what affects you directly. And so run for your commissioner's office, your alderman's positions. You can handle what happens in your to what happens to your people in your district. That's the control right now on the local level. It's a lot easier to get elected. It's a lot less expensive. It's a lot more effective. So, because your federal government, from the presidency on down, they're all lining their pockets. You saw Trump got a plane from Qatar. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's getting their kickbacks right now. So, if you want to be able to make sure your immediate neighborhoods and your immediate family is safe, run for local office, because you can also make sure you keep the state laws intact to where federal laws won't apply to you. And that's the part I think everybody's gotten away from, which they don't want to tell you. Running for local office gives you a lot more power, a lot faster, and you can fix a lot of things a lot faster. So check into your local positions. You know, if you're very well known in your city, it should be easy for you to get elected. It should be easy for you to get, you know, just get into an office to where you can make a difference immediately. So that's my advice. If you want to
And
know
I
how,
agree
what,
with it. Long as you don't have, certain people from parties try to sideline your whole campaign. But
well,
either way,
that's going to
go
be in,
for it and don't give up.
but that's still going to be in play. But if you were born and raised in a district and in your city, and you know everybody and everybody knows you, guess what? You got that support off rip. It don't matter who they
That's
turn.
right.
It don't
And
matter.
and 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 you know what, Trevian, let me say this to y'all. When you decide to run for these seats, right? Don't feel like you got to be the smartest bitch. Okay? Don't feel that way. Follow your heart, follow your dream. You don't have to be the smartest bitch. You ain't got to have all the damn answers. You don't have to have all the answers. Look what's already in place. Okay? Look at the ones that are already elected. Okay? When you look at people like Karen Bass, Governor Newsom, when you look at people like this, Maxine Waters, and the tampon Timmy that put tampons in the boys' bathroom. When you look at people like that lets you know you don't have to be the smartest one. Just have the heart to do it. Don't let nobody talk you out of it. If you lose, at least you gave it your best shot, or at least you tried. Even if you didn't win, at least you tried. And keep trying and keep trying. I know somebody ran for office right here in Miami about 35 times before they won a seat. Okay. So don't give up. Don't give up. Keep trying it.
It's a lot easier. Like, you can start building, planting those seeds right now, going around to people that you've done business with, people who you supported their companies, people that, your kids went to the daycare with. You start building that support. Nobody's going to beat you. Nobody's going to beat you, especially if you have been an asset to your community. You are a for real shoe in winner. So, I'm just going to say local government is going to be more effective than federal government. Anybody who's good locally will be able to fend off anything coming down on the federal level, because they'll be able to invoke the state's rights. So that's the way I see to making an immediate impact. People always say, well, I don't know what I can do. What can I do? What can I do? Well, that's what you can do. It can be the simplest, situation. Run for election commissioner. Make sure that your elections are, valid and lawful. There's so much. It's just people are lazy, and you lazy
And
people.
afraid.
Yeah,
And
and you
afraid. Fear
are,
is a big thing.
yeah,
Fear
you
is huge. Fear is huge. What are people gonna say about me? Who gives a fuck what they got to say about you? Just do it. It doesn't matter. Like she said, a lot of these small towns, like when I go home to some of these small towns that are near where I'm from, they look like a fucking graveyard. And when I look at that shit, I be like, what kind of leadership, what type of people are you that you get used to allowing yourself to come outside, you go into your community and it look like a fucking graveyard. Is that the type of leadership that y'all are electing, that it's okay for y'all to like not invest in economic development to develop this place, even though the place is small? There are billions of dollars available for economic development. So they should use some of this to really do something with these little small ass towns that'll run the fuck down, you know?
well, that's
So leadership is important. And like she said, not to cut you off, but like she said, if you're from those small towns and you tired of going out to your little small town that looks like shit, it looks like, Dodge City back in the Western days when you watching the Cowboys and shit. You looking for somebody to come out and tie up a horse to the local post because that's just how bad it actually looks there. So run for office to make a change, make a difference in your community. That's what it's all about. And thank you, Vicky, for reposting the show. And everybody else, thank you, Donna, for reposting the show.
it's when you talk about these small towns, and I have personal experience in these areas because as a cannabis lobbyist and trying to build medical cannabis through the country, I've gone through smaller towns when I've had clients who received a cannabis license to open their business and they wanted to put it in a smaller town. The smaller towns would have their little boards and their little cliques, and they would vote against it. And they already had all the young people who were born in the town leaving because there was nothing in the town to make them stay. So one of the counties, Pike County in Illinois, that declined to put a craft grow, which means you can grow cannabis for medical patients because I'm a medical cannabis license. They turned it down. Now 25% of their youth have left since that. I think that was 2022 that I tried to help this client get this license and this zoning in Pike County, Illinois. And now they called me, they're begging to bring it to Pike County. But small towns ruin their own futures because they have these small-minded mentalities. They don't want progress. So all of the young people, the first chance they get, they leave. So this is that small-minded mentality is the destruction of small cities because they are their own worst enemies. They're afraid to open their minds to the future,
New
and
ideas.
they end up, dissolving themselves and becoming that ghost town that you described.
That reminds me like also like for the small churches, when you have a lot of older people in leadership and they don't want the young people coming in mixing up with their ideas of how they like things ran. They don't want to adapt to any like new type of music or any type of things that would be interested in young people, but they want the young people there. But when the young people come up with new ideas, they're going to fight against it. And that's always a problem. That's always a problem when you have people that have been taught to think a certain way. They're afraid of new people when they come around. They don't want nobody there that they feel is smarter than them or somebody that can actually think outside of the box. They hate that also. So that's always a problem. That's
I
always the problem.
Their legacy will die when they die. And so for me, that whole term in the Bible where you can live forever, I don't know about this heaven thing that people talk about, but I know right here on earth, you can live forever through your legacy, meaning that people hundreds of years from now, from what you did while you were on this earth, they will read about you then. In my mind, that's how you live forever. We're still talking about George Washington. George Washington is dead. Why do we talk about George Washington? George Washington made his mark on this world while he was here. That is my your genes through your children. You know, you live forever that way. There's a lot of things in religion that I think have been spun to make people think something when in reality it's been taken, you know, the true meaning of it has been, you know, excluded and pushed to the side to control people. And so I feel like, you know, older people, and I know some older people who still have a vigor for life. And they are the ones who I think are the most receptive to new ideas and allowing young people to be young people and allowing, you know, progress and futuristic, you know, concepts to take place. I think, you know, that's another thing that I think is highly detrimental to societies because we have these older people who've worked to the bone their entire life. But when they die, there's no one there
They
to.
a lot of them are tired, but they don't like it when somebody new come along
Right,
that want to help them. That, you know, they're not because they've been in charge of and so dependent upon themselves that it's so hard for them to release and let up a little and allow somebody in because they're not trusting. You know,
right,
they don't just easily trust because they know the struggle that they went to get to where they are, you
right.
know, today. And like you said, when it comes to your children, you know, even if you don't have kids, a good servant is always good. And by a good servant, I mean somebody that's always there to help you because even though you have kids, your kids might not, you know, want to have anything to do with you. And that happens a lot with
Yeah,
older people. Their kids don't even come and check on them to see how mama is doing. You know, sometimes they don't even know that mama dead and gone till, you know, time has passed. A lot, unfortunately, that's just something that happens and take place here. So when you have that person that's there to help you, and when you call on them, they're there. Always remember them. All the, you know, and that's why creating generational wealth is so important. We have to empower our loved ones. We have to empower our community to be able to go to the next level of being self-sustainable without having to worry about how they're going to make them ends meet. And that's very important because, you know, especially in our community, you have a lot of them young mothers that, you know, their lights are always off. Everything in the house is off. The rent behind, the lights are off. They don't know how they're gonna make them ends meet. So they go and change up that light bill and put it in the next child name and the next child name and the next child name and everything else. So then what happens when the child turns 18? Then they already got some jacked up credit from light bills being in their name, you know, over the years. So that's not even giving them like a good start in life. So once again, that's why creating generational wealth, seeking educational knowledge, whether that's on YouTube or any type of podcast or anything that's going to help you empower yourself. Don't never focus on the problem. Yeah, your lights off. Yeah, you burning candles. Yeah, you in the dark. But don't focus on that. Focus on what is the solution to getting those funds. And I don't mean by doing any type of criminal activity. I ain't telling you to go rob the bank to pay your light bill. By no means am I saying that. I'm just saying um seek other means and measures because in today's world it's so many things to do, it's so many jobs online. Just follow your heart, you know, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, and just be the best at it. You know, be the best at whatever you do. It doesn't even matter if you're a janitor. You be the best damn janitor at that school. You know, whatever you do. And that's the problem with today's world. People want, you know, they work, but they don't want to put forth no effort. I just want to be fucking average. Fuck this job. I'm just here to get my damn paycheck. But guess what, motherfucker? That's you. The common denominator to what you're thinking and what you're saying is you. So when you don't want to put no effort in yourself and you just want to be nominal, average, guess what? You ain't cranking up no skills to find out what you really have in you that you could be great at. So I always tell people, it don't matter. Just push yourself to do more. Push yourself to be the best because you have, especially when you have a small business, right? A lot of people are always envious and jealous of what somebody is able to pull off, what they are able to accomplish because you didn't do it. But instead of getting mad at that person, go and apply yourself to pulling off anything, to doing anything to make something happen that's going to help the business grow and that's going to help the business be a larger, a better business, to
You
be a
know what?
better business.
I think the Bible is a culprit in some of this laziness because it's like, oh, patience is a virtue. Good things come to those who's patient.
Patience ain't no virtue over here because your
That's
ass
a lie.
doing average shit. Guess what? I'm gonna get in your ass and I'm gonna let your ass know because at the end of the day, I can't just lay around and do nothing.
Good
You
things come
know,
to those who hustle. Let me just
you
keep it
gotta hustle. You gotta work. You gotta put
not,
forth the
not
effort.
those who wait. Whoever wrote that good things come to those who wait was scamming y'all so they could get everything. So, and I think that's that part of that's in the Bible. Like, oh, the patience of the no, there's no patience. You gotta hustle. Good things come to those who hustle. And I've always believed that. I always wanted to be the best. I've never wanted to be mediocre. I'm very competitive because you get one shot on this earth. Like, I'm trying to get it all. I want to do it all. I want to see it all. And I'm on that
But you
path.
know what? See that I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They don't want nothing. They're not ambitious. They have no dreams. They don't want to go no damn where. They happy on that damn bicycle. They happy sleeping on that bus stop. You know, they good with that. And then when you try to help them, then a lot of times they want to get angry with you. When it's your fault. No, motherfucker. I didn't tell you to go sleep on the. You got to let them know. You really have to let these people know, especially here. Because it's a different, totally different breed here. But you gotta let them know, what happened to goals, what happened to dreams. I remember back in the day growing up, we had dreams and ambition, but what about this new generation? I mean, do they think everybody's going to be a football player, a basketball player, a rapper? you know
I don't even think there's time to worry. There's so much going on in the world. It's almost at a point where you have to pick up where you are and keep it moving because if you're carrying all that dead weight, you can't get to where you're supposed to go to even try and help and to be pull anybody up with you. So for me, I never worried about it because it was never my issue. You know what I mean? I'm like, I help people when I can, I really do. And it's an honor and I don't expect anything back from you. But I'm gonna keep it moving once I help you. I'm not gonna stick there to keep helping you. I'm not. I'm gonna help you that one time, and if you can't get up from that, it's on you, and it's not on me. I've never had anybody blame me for not helping them because they
they
knew.
can't blame you. They cannot blame you. They got to point that finger at the man in the mirror. you
Right.
know they got to look at that man in the mirror because that's the biggest problem right there. That's the biggest problem.
Everybody.
That's the biggest problem. Like I had
Thing.
a young lady, this young lady, right? She always come talk when she have a problem. She is 27, 28, and she has like maybe, damn, I can't even count them all, about 10 kids. About 10. And every time I see her, oh, Laverne, guess what? Let me guess, you pregnant again. Yeah. Yeah. But Your lights are off in your house. How in the hell you got 10 kids and your lights are off? You got 10 baby daddies, but nobody can help you pay your light bill.
You know, it's they've become dependent. They don't want anything. You know, she's feeling like, probably in my opinion, she's feeling like the more kids she get, the bigger her welfare check and the more her food stamps will be. um, but where we are right now, it's like everybody's believing in this fake dream. It's like everybody is created equal. No, the fuck we're not. That's why there's a lion and a gazelle. So I know where I am in this world, you know, and I'm always striving harder to there's always more that I would love to be in this world, and I work for it. Nobody can say, "Oh, she doesn't work for it," because I work my ass off. Sometimes I don't sleep for 3 days. So
See, you know what? Let me, you know, that's so important right there, because people don't understand, like, you have to encourage yourself, but you have to be determined. Like me, even though I'm, you know, it's my business, I don't get no damn weekends off. I'm always in here. I'm always here. And that's what I tell my staff. While y'all going to the beach and shit, guess where I'm at? Working. I'm working, because you got to stay focused at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, you get your little time to do whatever it is you want to do, but still, you got to stay focused and you got to be determined.
but
Determination is the key.
still, we're not created equal. I'm not the person in the handicap chair with no legs is not equal to me because I run marathons. You know, all of it's a lie. So there's no equality. Everybody needs to just throw that shit in the trash. You are what you work for. That's all it is in this world. You are what you work for. You get what you work for. So there is no such thing as we're all that kumbaya bullshit. That's another way to keep y'all enslaved, for people to be mad because you got a car and they don't. That's still division. It's all an agenda. So nobody's equal. It's all a fight, survival of the fittest. That's what it is. So, you know, just understand when everybody's like, oh, we're all one nation under God created equal. No, we're not created equal. Some people are 6 feet tall and other people come out as midgets. Like, it's all a lie. So just, you know, just trying to bring everybody back to reality on all the jargon that we've been pumped in, you know, that have been pumped into us all these years of growing up. You know, yeah, everybody's equal. No, we're not. No, we're not. You know, we're not. So you get what you
And
work.
also, a lot of things that may have applied back then totally does not apply to these days at all.
Well, the Constitution does. So
But the
that's,
Constitution does,
I'm
but a
like,
lot of other things don't.
that's all I, you know, if we're not, you know, a lot of people haven't even read the Constitution. You know, they don't even know what their rights are. That's another thing. People don't even know their rights. They're too, you know, caught up in whatever the mediocre and, you know, just half-ass lifestyle that they haven't even taken time out to realize what their rights are. I can keep the FBI outside my house because I knew what my rights are. I didn't go once they subpoenaed me to go testify against Trump in DC. I didn't go because I knew my rights. So that's where I would suggest everybody start figuring out what your rights are in this United States of America, this amazing, beautiful country of opportunity. You know, the rest of my family, oh, I hate America. You know, these honkies, these peckerwoods, this Jew, this, you know, that's all I grew up hearing. You know, the white man was the enemy. You know, that redneck, that I've heard white people called every single name that white people can be called from my own family. My family is racist. So I had to break away from my family to find opportunity and not be caught up and bogged down by racism like the rest of my family who can't seem to figure it out because the white man has taken their opportunities from them. And so I let them watch me from afar as an example, as someone who has not partaken in that mentality, and where what you can do, just where you can go. The things that you've always wanted in your life, you can work for it and you can get it, and nobody can stop you. And so you know, black people have that problem, and black people are their own problem. So there's
Well,
room.
with my family, I was taught to love everybody. I never heard them say anything bad about any race, about white people, black people,
My
anything like that. They was always like really, really, really nice people, and I was just sick of that shit. I was like, wait, I better gotta be so fucking nice, man. Just say
uh,
what the fuck on y'all mind. Stop being around the damn bush.
my family was honky peckerwood redneck every day of the year. It didn't matter if it was Christmas. You see that honky made it so I couldn't buy my kids no Christmas present. The honky did everything in my family. Like it was just terrible. It was. I'm like, I'm getting away from you fools because y'all crazy. It was sad. I mean, I can't even explain how deep it was in my family. And my grandmother had 13 kids. Her
Oh
sister,
my god. Yeah, back then they had big families.
and so everybody.
Huge, huge families back then. Yeah.
So it took a lot to just break up, break away from. You have to divorce your family sometimes to be successful because they'll keep you in that pocket with them, and you'll all be miserable, gaining 20 pounds every 6 months. So yeah, it's because that's what's happening to them right now. It's unfortunate because I said it before. They have a leader in the family. I don't have to be perfect for them to learn from what I'm doing and what I've done, and they don't want it because Trump comes along with it, or Republican and white people and honkies and rednecks come along with it. So it's a sad case, but I'm gonna let them chips fall where they may over there. So
Absolutely. Well, most of my family is Democrats, but at the end of the day, we still love each other. They know how I feel about Trump, and I'm a conservative and I work closely with the GOP. I try my best to work with them, you know. And my family knows that. But like I said, that hasn't changed anything about how they feel about me. At the end of the day, we still family. When I go home, we love each other. We love each other. There's no division there. And everybody should be that way. We should all be able to agree or disagree without, you know, animosity or division. That's how I feel about it.
and on that note, we would like to thank you all for joining us. You heard that message. We can agree to disagree, but we still need to get together with those who are close to us, those who are not close to us, so that we can save this country. Laverne, I'm going to let you do closing remarks.
Okay. Um, I just want to thank everybody for joining us on the Hood Conservative podcast with my co-host Trevian. And I hope that when you all listen to us, that you actually learn something. And we also like to hear from you all. Drop your comments, repost the videos, talk to us. I like that. I like that.
Join us on the
And,
show.
huh? Excuse
Join
me.
us on the show.
Yeah,
Just
join us on the show. If you want to come on, please inbox Travian on X. Inbox her. We would love to have you on. You
come on,
know,
come on.
we'd love to have you on.
We love
Come
thought.
up. Let's talk about, it's not always all about politics. Let's just talk about what's taking place in this world today because that's so important. And I hope that somebody learned something new that they want to try a different approach, you know, take a different outlook on life, you know. Uh, Think about it. Just try to think about expanding your horizons because expanding your horizons is so important. And come out that little single ass little narrow box. Get your ass out the box. I'm talking to somebody up here right now. Get your ass out of that tiny box and expand your horizons. Expand it. Just expand it. Like I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna close. A friend of mine, I was talking to her and I was saying, my watch, it was like 11:11, right? And I said, that's a great number. 11:11 is a great number and she was like, no, it's demonic. Numbers are demonic, you know. And I said, well, all numbers have an angel meeting. So you need to go and really do research the meaning of the numbers, because oh no, it's the money, it's the money. I said, okay, so if you're gonna say that's the money, what about a chicken? I said, now, if you take a chicken, right, and you go to your little Santeria and your little voodoo party, then y'all going to do some evil, wicked stuff or whatever you're doing, then you may classify that as demonic. Some people may even classify that as religion, right? But then you take that same chicken and you cut him up, slice his neck off, cut him up, season him, and cook him. You gonna eat every piece of it. So is that still that same demonic chicken? Come on, talk to me. So that's why I'm saying expand your horizons. Come out of the box. For so long, so many of us have been taught so much narrow-minded understanding, no fucking understanding. We just have believed for too long things that we were told that's not necessarily true. So I just want to challenge everybody to rethink things that you believe to be true that may not necessarily be true, and to also seek knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Seek all of that, because all of that is going to make a difference. And if you're having trouble with any of that, just join us on Thursday at the Hood Conservative Podcast, and you can drop your little question, write a comment in this box, and we're going to help you with it. We're going to help you, right, Trevian?
Amen.
That's why we're here. So we're going to close this show out. Trevian, in closing, was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, just to thank you all again. All of you, almost 5,000 of you tonight. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you. And this was a special Monday night edition. So we were just testing out the waters. But we'll be right back on Thursday, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, on the Hood Conservative.
Right.
Follow me at Free Trevian on X, and I'm Trevian Kutti on all other platforms.
Yeah, follow her on all of her platforms. And if all 5,000 of you all here just follow her, that would truly boost her on Twitter. Follow Trevian. And also follow me, your hostess with the mostest, Laverne Spicer. Follow me on YouTube. Y'all know I can't post that many videos on YouTube because it's always somebody coming in my inbox asking for what? A knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. And y'all know I don't mind giving it to them, okay? They always asking for that. Follow me on Rumble, y'all. Follow me on Rumble and the other platforms. And thank you so much for joining us here on this special edition of Hood Conservative Show. Thank you, G and Mark, for everything. Thank you, Mr. Spicer, for your patience. And to my daddy, happy Father's Day, Daddy. Love you.
See y'all on Thursday.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
See y'all Thursday at 3. Hi, I'm Laverne Spicer, and I'm asking for your support today. Thousands of Americans struggle to get food, and they wonder where their next meal is going to come from. But I'm here, been working with them for over 25 years to provide food to people that need it the most, right here at our community food bank. So today, I'm asking you for your support. Please provide a contribution to help make a real difference in our community and to help us feed people. And you can do it right here. Donate today on Cash App. And you will see the link above.